Graphing linear equations. A linear equation in two variables can be written in this form: ax plus by equals c. Okay? A, b, and c are real numbers, and a and b can't be zero together. Okay? This form of ax plus by equals c is called the standard form of a linear equation, and the graph of this equation is a straight line. So let's take an example of graphing a linear equation. Suppose we want to graph the linear equation negative 5x plus 3y equals 15. So we have to construct a table of values in order to graph this, in order to plot this. So let's choose some numbers. Let's choose x equals 0, and we'll find the y value. We'll choose y equals 0 and find the x value, because that's easy to do when you choose zeros for each of these. And then we'll randomly choose x equals negative 2 and find the y value. So for the first one, if x is 0, let x equal 0, we plug 0 in for x into our equation. We get negative 5 times 0 plus 3 times y equals 15. Anything times 0 is 0. That's why it's easy to choose 0. Anything times 0 is 0. So we get 3y equals 15. And dividing both sides by 3 to get what y is, 15 divided by 3 is 5. So y is going to be equal to 5 if x is 0. So we'll put this in here. There's our first point. Y is 5. X is 0. Okay, now let's choose y equal to 0. We plug that into our equation, so we'll get negative 5x plus 3 times 0, because y is 0 this time, equals 15. So we get 3 times 0 is 0. Negative 5x equals to 15, because this drops out here. So we divide both sides by negative 5 now. 15 divided by negative 5 is going to give us negative 3. So x is negative 3 when y is 0. So when y is 0, x is negative 3. Okay, so we have 2 points. In order to draw a line, you really just need 2 points, but we'll do a third point just to make sure. If we look at our third point, x equals negative 2, we plug negative 2 into the equation for x. So we get negative 5 times negative 2 plus 3y equals 15. Negative 5 times negative 2 is 10. So we get 10 plus 3y equals 15. Now we want to get y, so we'll subtract 10 from both sides. Okay, so in other words, we're going to move this 10 all the way here and subtract it. Okay, 15 minus 10 gives me 5. So we have 3y equals 5. Finally, we're going to divide both sides by 3 to get y. So y is going to be equal to 5 over 3. Okay, so that's our third point. Y is 5/3, which is actually 1 2/3. So we could either think of it as 5/3 or 1 2/3. Y is equal to 5/3 or 1 2/3 when x is negative 2. So I'll put 1 2/3 here. Now we're ready to plot these points to graph the equation. Okay, we're now ready to plot these points for this line, to make this line. We first have the point 0, 5. So x is 0, y is 5. X is 0, y is 5. So we're actually on the y-axis. This is called the y-intercept. Okay. Next point is negative 3, 0. We go along negative 3, and then we go to 0. So that's negative 3, 0. And that's actually the x-intercept, that point. So we can actually draw the line with these 2 points. If we connect up these 2 points, we can see that there is a line. So I'll just connect these two. So there is a line there. But one more point is to ensure that we actually did this correctly. So negative 2, 1 2/3. Negative 2, 1 2/3. So it looks like it approximately sits on that line too. It should if we're drawing it to scale. And so we have our 3 points on our line. And normally we would extend this line because that equation goes on infinitely in either direction. So that's what the arrows would mean. So here's a graph of the equation. Now suppose you're asked to graph another equation, the linear equation y equals 2. As we can see here, remember the equation ax plus by equals c? Well, in this case, we just have a b on the y, which is 1. And we have y equals 2. 2 would be c. Okay, so this is an equation, a linear equation still. Y equals 2. What is x going to be then? There's no x in this equation. And if we notice, if I complete a table of values for y values at 2, we can put any x value. Okay, let's plot this and look what this looks like. So I picked 0, negative 3, and 2 for my x's. And so at x equals 0, y is 2. At x equals negative 3, y is 2. At x equals 2, y is 2. Because all our equation tells us is that y is 2. Okay, if we join up these points here, we see, what do we have? We actually have a horizontal line here at y equals 2. So when we have an equation that is just y equals something, this is always going to be a horizontal line. Horizontal line. And in this case, the horizontal line goes through y equals 2. No matter where you are on that line, y is always equal to 2.